Hello, Dan here with News That Doesn't Suck, continuing on our series on Over the Top by Zig Ziglar. Again, the objective here is to get you excited and interested enough about this book that you go to your local bookshop or Barnes & Noble or Amazon and buy a copy. And read it and do what it says. So we are working on Chapter 1, What or Where is the Top? And it's very appropriate that I'm sitting here in my dirty work clothes at the end of a long day on some newspaper so I don't get in trouble for getting this beautiful chair dirty. But the reason for that is when you're making a change in your life, life continues whether you want it to or not. Time waits for no one. Tick tock, as one of my mentors tells me. You're going to have to cut little things out so you can put other little better things in. Make those small changes, enjoy the benefits from them, and then continue and make more changes. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And let's continue with Chapter 1. What or where is the top? There's a lot to cover on this first chapter, so we are going to go pretty quickly. What or where is the top? Men and women are limited not by the place of their birth, not by the color of their skin, but by the size of their hope. John Johnson. John Johnson was fortunate enough to be raised in Arkansas City, Arkansas. That was a real break because it is an established but little known fact that Arkansas City, Arkansas is in the geographical center of the world. You can start there and go anywhere in the world you want to go, and the maximum distance is just 12,000 miles. Geography buffs, you with me on that one? Mr. Johnson went less than 2,000 miles from the tin-roof shotgun house where he was born, but he did go far enough to live in a high-rise on Chicago's Gold Coast and next door to Bob Hope in Palm Springs, California, and he has been listed as one of the 400 wealthiest men in America. It is not who your parents are, it is who you are and what you do that count. 52% of the CEOs of the Fortune 500 companies are from lower middle class or poor families, and 80% of the millionaires in America are first-generation millionaires. Opportunity is alive and well, and that was just in the 80s. Inflation makes it a whole lot easier for people to be millionaires. Whew. That's a good thing. Lots of questions and some answers. Is there such a thing as the top? Is the top a destination, or is it really a journey, as I've repeatedly heard? With the help of thousands of people, I've learned that everybody wants to be happy, healthy, reasonably prosperous, and secure, to have friends, peace of mind, good family relationships, and hope. Many, if not all of these things, are open to change, sometimes instantly and dramatically. You can have it all one day and lose it all, or most of it the next day. Question: were you ever at the top one day and at the bottom the next? Are life and success that fickle? Is the top defined by your position and prestige in your community? Are you at the top when you have what you want, or are you there when you want what you have? Are you at the top when you know who you are and whose you are, or are you there when you are rich, famous, envied, and idolized by millions? How old must you be when you get to the top? Can a teenager be at the top? Can you stay there once you have arrived for the rest of your life? Can you reach the top by yourself, or do you need help from others? Can you be at the top and not be successful, or can you be successful and not be at the top? If you're rich, well-known, successful, and respected in your professional life but have a string of failures in your personal and family lives, are you at the top? If you have rich and satisfying personal and family lives but struggle in your business or professional life, are you at the top? If you haven't made it in your personal, family, or business life, can you reverse a lifetime of failure and frustration at your age and still make it to the top? A lot of people are very curious about that one. Is it really true that a failure is an event and not a person? Because I have long since opened and walked through that door, I will tell you what it is like to live over the top and how you can join me there. Hope is the principal ingredient to do just that. As a matter of fact, psychiatrist Alfred Adler says that hope is the foundational quality of all change. Think about it for a moment. Without hope, there is no activity. The unemployed individual with no hope of finding a job will not look for one. The couple whose marriage is in trouble will make no effort to mend the fences if they feel there is no hope in reconciling their differences. The student has no hope of passing, won't bother to study. Life itself, from time to time, presents us with what we perceive as being hopeless situations. However, I want to strongly enforce the concept throughout this book that there are very rarely few hopeless situations, only people who lose hope in the face of those situations. That's the reason you will find hope builders as you turn each page, because when the going gets tough, that's when the hope will keep going. And again, we do not have time to cover everything, so there are a lot of hope building tidbits that help you continue on, should you choose to get the book. Again, this is a good time for me to remind you that if I know you personally, I am more than willing to take money out of my pocket and pay somebody else to send this book to you. Life Over the Top still has its moments. Over the Top, as a practical matter, was signed, sealed, and sent to the publisher. Back it came with an interesting and frustrating challenge. I was told that I must clearly identify the top before the book could serve its intended purpose. In my own mind, I thought that would be simple. I literally wrestled with it for 3 solid months. I wrote many pages, some of them contained germs of truth, but none of them specifically identified the top. I did everything as a writer that I knew to do. I read every available piece of literature, talked with people I looked to for advice and counsel, reread much of the manuscript, and took many long walks that almost always produced results. Still, nothing came forth. Then, believing I had so saturated my thinking that a solution would surely come, I pushed it all aside and forgot about it. The breakthrough finally came at such an unexpected time I was left scrambling for a piece of paper. Here's what happened. My wife, whom I lovingly refer to as the redhead, in private conversation I call her Sugar Baby, her name is Jean, and I were in Shreveport, Louisiana, visiting her sister, Uriah Abernathy. Because of multiple sclerosis, Uriah lives in Heritage Manor South Nursing Home. Each time I go there, I feel like a fish out of water. I have devoted my life to finding solutions to problems. That's pretty much what men do. But many of the nursing home residents have problems that are beyond human solution. I see things that I have difficulty dealing with, and I stand around feeling helpless and frustrated. In contrast, the redhead feels right at home. I watch in admiration as she moves easily from one resident to the next, exclaiming with heartfelt sincerity how happy she is to see them again and inquiring with true interest about their health and their families as she affectionately hugs them. They respond to her with brightening eyes and widening smiles. Watching the redhead naturally do what confounds me is one of the most beautiful sights I've ever privileged to witness. As I watched, I was eventually overcome by my feelings of inadequacy and left the room. As I did, I started praying, asking God to give me compassion, understanding, and a spirit of helpfulness. Even as I prayed, my heart was touched, and I experienced a newfound peace. I walked back in and sat down at the table in the community room with my sister-in-law and the redhead. Suddenly, ideas began to flow. Using the receipt from the motel we had just left, I started writing. Over 90% of what I wrote in the next 20 minutes is what appears on the next page under the heading, The Top. Some of it was obviously influenced by my surroundings, but most of it came from my experiences, the experiences of others, and the research I've done in all areas of life. However, many of the thoughts and ideas were truly inspired by my prayer. I encourage you to slowly read each of the 15 points and think about the significance of each one in your own life. Then place each of the 15 points on a 3x5 note card and make it a focal point for 1 week. In the subsequent video, I did that, and we'll be sharing that with you. Also, I recommend you do the same. And we're going to go through every week and focus on one of these items for the entire week. You are at the top when you clearly understand that failure is an event, not a person, that yesterday ended last night and today is your brand new day. You have made friends with your past, are focused on the present, and optimistic about your future. You know that success, a win, doesn't make you, and failure, a loss, doesn't break you. You are filled with faith, hope, and love, and live without anger, greed, guilt, envy, or thoughts of revenge. You are mature enough to delay gratification and shift your focus from your rights to your responsibilities. You know that failure to stand for what is morally right is the prelude to being the victim of what is criminally wrong. You are secure in who you are, so you are at peace with God and in fellowship with man. You have made friends of your adversaries and have gained the love and respect of those who know you best. You understand that others can give you pleasure, but genuine happiness comes from when you do things for others. You are pleasant to the grouch, courteous to the rude, and generous to the needy. You love the unlovable, give hope to the hopeless, friendship to the friendless, and encouragement to the discouraged. You can look back in forgiveness, forward in hope, down in compassion, and up with gratitude. You know that he who is the greatest among you must first become the servant of all. You recognize, confess, develop, and use your God-given physical, mental, and spiritual abilities to the glory of God and for the benefit of mankind. You stand in front of the Creator of the universe, and He says to you, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." The solution to the problem I had wrestled with for 3 solid months came to me when I completely forgot about my needs and became engrossed in finding a way to meet the needs of others. I understand that your objective at this moment might well be survival. So the first objective of Over the Top is to help you survive. The second objective is to move you from survival to stability, then from stability to success, and finally, from success to significance. We'll continue on this later this week, and remember, your news doesn't have to make you sad if you listen to news that doesn't suck.